All right, so we got to talk about it, man. Caitlin Clark is not going to be in the lineup against the New York Liberty this coming Tuesday, as she obviously missed the All-Star game as well and all the festivities around it. A devastating heartbreak, kind of for not only Caitlin Clark herself, but the league in general, who built this weekend particularly around her. And, she was the hometown host, and it was like just very sad to kind of watch the All-Star festivities go down as, the result of, a lot of the new attention that came to the league with Caitlin Clark. She was not able to partake in it. And I kind of feel like it was really taken from her and taken from us, with, the injury that went down against the Connecticut Sun, a very physical game last week that was 100% on the refs for allowing it to just progress to that level of the physicality. And Caitlin has suffered and pretty much not played a healthy season this year. And she came into the, season kind of, not feeling great, and then has only been exasperated throughout, the season, as she's just been in and out of the lineup, and there's been no consistency in knowing whether she is going to be available one game or the next. And I think the league needs to look in the mirror and look at the refereeing that is allowed to, persist against Caitlin, or the lack of refereeing that is allowed to persist against her, that is running her into the ground kind of. So we've been here before. We've seen, at the beginning of the season, the quad injury, and they were like, yeah, she's going to be out, and they announced a time frame for that. Then we got the left groin injury. And then that went through a day-to-day thing, and a lot of us were kind of scratching our heads on, like, what the hell is a day-to-day groin injury? And it seems like her body is overcompensating now, because now it's the right groin that's messed up. And here we are again. We don't know if they're going to do the day-to-day diagnosis thing, but so much of the day-to-day stuff has fallen under an erosion of trust with the fan base. I feel like a lot of people want to know whether, is she going to be in the lineup? Can you make an announcement? LeBron James, I remember, famously dealt with a day-to-day groin injury in the 2019 season. So this is, something that happens, like, as far as the day-to-day stuff. But at this point, I think it's beyond just being frustrated with the team communication. And you're kind of looking at, how did this happen? Did the strength program get so out of control over the offseason that it basically added too much, muscle to a frame that perhaps wasn't ready for it? Was she just drilled into needing more physicality and stuff like that? It brings out the question of physicality in the WNBA and, the cover-up that I think a lot of that is cloaked in, which is, the lack of skill in some cases. I think you've got all those factors, and when you combine them, it makes for a very frustrating, and this is where I think a lot of people may feel like they are going to start giving up on, following Caitlin Clark, following the WNBA, because it feels like the injury did not happen through natural means. It happened kind of through malpractice of, whatever the team was doing in the offseason. This is why most athletes tend to have their own health staff. And this goes back to the Kawhi Leonard thing. This goes back to LeBron James again. These are people that basically have a team independent of the actual team, because the team's, best objective is to get the athlete on the floor. Like, it isn't necessarily, they don't always have the best interest of the athlete at heart. And I'm not saying that, the Indiana Fever engaged in malpractice. I'm saying we should be asking questions to find out if that was the case. And when you have your own health staff, as I'm suggesting, that gives you that insurance against the team staff whose only objective is to get the player on the court. And they've gotten Caitlin back out on the court twice to injury, which has been a result of the over-physical play and perhaps the training methods that were put into place in the offseason. Let's take a look at what Stephanie White had to say as far as the new injury.
Well, I haven't seen since the game last night, but I think she's progressing. I think that we're continuing to address everything that needs to be addressed. She's going to see some doctors and get some more tests run early in the week. I don't expect her to be available on Tuesday, so we're just going to continue to take it one day at a time and let her get her evaluations early this week, and then once we've done that, hopefully we'll have more of a clear line of what it looks like.
Stephanie White looks like she is going through it. right now, she looks like she is a woman that has been asked to kind of coach several different teams in one and has never really gotten, the lineup that she anticipated on getting. And I appreciate, the transparency right there as far as, what is set to happen in the short term. But at this point, I think it's fair to ask, should they just shut Caitlin down for the season? Is this a full month we're talking about to be like, hey, sit it down for a month and, we'll just figure it out from there rather than just getting her back out on the court. So after 4 or 5 games, when things aren't looking well, I don't think this is how many of us thought Caitlin Clark's second season would go. I think the lack of compassion is disgusting for Caitlin. And some of the comments that I've seen on Twitter, I've seen people wishing for further injury on her. It's just a really disgusting kind of thing that I don't have any respect for those people. It seems like she's been doomed to a not clean bill of health for this season at this point. We are just past the All-Star game. The Fever is sitting in the 6th position, I believe. They may be 12-11, if I'm not mistaken, through 22 games exactly. They got 22 games left. This feels bigger than just sit her down for 5 more games at this point. I'm not a doctor. Neither are many people watching this video. So I think they need to run those tests and perhaps take even more precaution because it's not just about this year. You don't want to lose Caitlin Clark for even, you don't want her to be like a Jackie Styles situation to where it's like, oh man, injuries just ruin, this great player that was this super scorer. I think the WNBA needs to look in the mirror at the physicality, the freedom of movement, and basically drop the hammer. It was tough to watch the All-Star game without Caitlin Clark. Had Caitlin been in the game, I'm sure people would have tried to play on defense, at least to stop her. And imitating, what got the NBA All-Star game kind of frowned upon instead of kind of building off of what they did last year in the USA versus the WNBA All-Star game was a choice that I would not have made. So this right here with the injury stuff, there's a lot of questions around this. I want to know what questions you guys have. I think asking questions is a lot easier option than giving answers because giving answers tends to complicate things. And I don't think a lot of us have answers. We're just kind of looking for, this player to get healthy again. And for me, I don't care how long it takes to get her back to 100%. If you got a punter for the season, do it. At this rate. Does it suck? A lot of these players are only on 1-year deals now. Yeah, that kind of sucks because you thought you built a team that could do something. But it's only going to go as far as Caitlin Clark goes anyway. So, the team has played, to a decent level without her. But this is only going to go, pretty much like the WNBA where Caitlin Clark takes it. So, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Happy to be back. I was under the weather for a week, so I appreciate those that sent well wishes over to me and left comments and mentioned my name in other people's videos and other creators that were talking and sending me well wishes. So shout out to Courtside and all the others. So I'll holler at y'all next time. My name is Rich Latta. Peace. This is One Lifetime.